Okay, so cosine law, we're going to solve for an angle in this one. So we're going to use this formula. And sometimes to solve for an angle, what they'll do is they'll rearrange and kind of give you a different formula. But we're going to focus on this one. That way we only have to memorize one formula. And we're going to use some algebra to isolate for the angle. Again, we have a blank triangle here. So assuming that, let's say they want us to find this angle here. They call it theta maybe. Okay, so this is the unknown angle. If this is the unknown angle, what we're going to do to help us with our formula, we're going to rename it. We're not going to call it what they want to call it. Okay, we're going to call it C. Okay, so with this formula, whether it's a side, it is, and that's supposed to be an uppercase C, or an angle, we are going to name them C. So this is the angle, so that means this is lowercase c. Okay, and then again, the A and the B aren't as important. So if I call this B, then this is side B. And if I call this A, that makes this side A. Okay, but what's important is this was our unknown. Okay, our C. So let's scroll on down here.
So when you're finding an angle, the big C has to be unknown in all terms, right?
Yeah. So here we go. We have three sides. So in order to use cosine law, or we have to use cosine law because they've given us three sides. Well, in this case, let's say that they're asking us what this angle is. They don't know what that angle and they want to know what it is. So we're going to use this formula, and because we're going to name our unknown C, that's what this letter is here, this is our C that we're talking about, we'll call this C, which then makes this side C. And then the other two, we can kind of just name them how we like. So I'll call that angle A, which makes this side A, and I'll call this angle B, which makes this side B. So what we're going to do is now plug in for that formula. Okay, all of our info.
So you just labeled this triangle and I'll plug it.
That's it. So side C is 63. So 63 squared is equal to side A. Well, side A is 38.4. And in our formula, we square that.
Okay, I got confused. I'm like, wait, how did that turn C up? The triangle up there had it wasn't C, or was C in the same place in the triangle up there?
Yeah. So 44 was our side B, so we're going to square that because that's what we do in that formula. Subtract 2 times our A is 38.4. Our B is 44.3. Yeah. And our cos C, so this is our unknown. This angle we leave as C. We don't know anything about it. So this is where it gets a little tricky, the algebra part. Right? We're just going to focus. Because now what we've done is we've replaced all the variables except the one. So we're going to isolate for that one variable in this question. So let's simplify everything. I'm going to use my calculator here. I'll switch calculators partway through just because this one only works in radians and we want to know in degrees.
So when it's three sides, you just have to make sure you label one of the angles C? Or
the one you're looking for.
It's going to be unknown anyway, right? It has to be like, still a little confusing, like how you labeled it, like up there.
Okay, let's 63 squared was that number. While you were talking, we kind of did it. And then 38.4 squared is going to be 1474.56. 1474.56. You know what? Just for to make this a little easier, I'm just going to shrink the page so we can kind of see our calculator as we go through it.
Okay.
That'll help us out a bit. Okay, next one we're doing is 44. So 44.3 squared, 1962, and I think, there we go, I can still see it. 1962.49. Okay, and now I'm just going to do these three numbers. This is, think of it like -2 times 38.4 times 44.3. So, bracket -2 times 38.4 times 44.3 equals, all right? So we got a negative value, which is fine. -3402.24, and it's still technically times, okay?
Yeah,
Cos
so you just plug those three into the...
So, this is where most students make their mistake. They add, and then subtract. But you can't do that because this is technically multiplied by. Okay, so this is an operation that has to go first, but this is unknown. So what I want us to do is I'm going to highlight it, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to touch these numbers. I'm only going to focus on
That's a negative 340. Okay.
So I'm going to move these to the other side of the equation, both of them. Okay, so when we do that, it'll become 3969 subtract 1474.
Because they're positive on the other side of the cosine.
Subtract 1962.49 is equal to, and this will stay, it's still negative 3402.24 times cos C. Okay, we'll kind of put in brackets so you can see it's times. And I'm going to equate this side. And again, I'm going to keep the calculator in view. 3969. Subtract 1474.56. Subtract 1962.49 equals. And there's our number. So that's going to be the number on the left side of the equal sign. So 3531.95 is equal to, and again, I'm going to highlight it. This has not changed. It stayed the same the whole time. So we get negative 3402.24 times cos, whoopsie, there you go, times cos C. And remember, C is the unknown angle we've been kind of solving for this whole time.
Yeah.
So we've been just manipulating the equation. Because this is multiplication, in order to move this to the other side, it needs to be divided by. So I'm going to take this number and divide by negative 3402.24. Okay. So I take that answer from before.
Is that dot a multiple? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's supposed to be kind of like a multiplication. So I take my answer from before. That's the 531. Say we have 531 there. You know what? Actually, I'll delete it.
Oh, because that's multiplying. So when you flip it on the equal side, you go become divided. Oh,
so we're going to divide this number by negative 3402.24 and bar. Gives us this number. This is a really small decimal, but we have to be very accurate. So it's a negative 0.1563. I'm going to say 5. I'm going to go to 1, 2, 5 decimal places.
Oh, because of the 2 right beside the 5.
So here's the tougher part of this. I'm going to change calculators for this part just so I end up with something that's in degrees. Okay. So here at this point, we take a look at this. We got to get C by itself. So in order to move cos to the other side, it becomes cos inverse.
Negative, right?
Yeah, so cos inverse of this number, negative 0.15635.
I love doing that part from Mother, I think, sin law, when he would like.
So then we take that number. So I have to punch it in. And in my calculator, I have to punch the number in first and then do cos inverse. 0.15635 when it's negative. And I got to do shift cos equals 98.9. So I'm going to round it to approximately 99 degrees. So a lot of work just for that unknown angle. That angle there turned out to be 99 degrees in this question.